Hello and welcome to another week of Sambo iRacing. It's week 7, season 2, 2024. We're in the Ray Racing Formula Ford FF1600 for another debut this season at Motorsport Areana Oschersleben. What can I say? Should be a great week of racing. It's nice and open. It's far too open for the Vs, but I think it's going to be perfect for racing in the Formula Fords this week. If you're new to the channel, thanks for taking the time to find me. What we do is we do a slow down lap where I show the braking markers from the cockpit, then we go full speed, chase cam, and then full speed back in the cockpit with the driving line on. For those of you that supported me through the buymeacoffee.com link in my description, thank you so much. It means the world to me when I get one of those notifications. Thank you for all your support. Now, enough of that. Let's jump in the cockpit. Okay, so usual disclosures. My brake bias is set to 57%, which is a lot more forward than normal. Normally, we'd have some really hard, heavy braking zones, and I like to make sure that I'm not locking up the fronts. However, we don't really have any massive braking zones in this track, so I prefer the stability, allow me to trail brake all the way down to the bottom, that little bit easier. I've loaded up the test session from the FF1600 fixed series schedule, so we'll be on the same track and air temperatures. The only thing that may differ is the wind speed because of the Tempest and wind direction because of the Tempest system. So if you find that you are faster than me on one straight but slower than me on another, it's 99% sure that it's going to be down to wind speed. Don't worry about it though. So as we cross the line, go up to 4th gear on the blue. And what we're looking for is this entrance road on the right hand side. Now, just as we get there, we're going to start our turn in and we're going to put a little bit of brake on, up to about 2/3 briefly, trail it off, putting a bit of maintenance throttle on. I'm in 4th gear. I'm going to cut the inside here. The fixed setup suspension copes with this absolutely nicely. I'm going to drop it down into 3rd gear, midway across the track now. And again, I'm now doing my second bit of braking for turn 2. So up to about 55%, trailing it off, dropping it down to 2nd gear when the revs allow. Now I'm going to start building back up on the throttle. Anytime that I need some extra rotation, my right foot just lifts very slightly. And what I'm looking to do is turn in, get up to full throttle, go over the curbing here without hitting the no-cut curbing, the higher sausage curb on the right-hand side. Let the car drift out, up to 3rd gear on the blue again. And now what we're looking for is just ahead of us here. If you see that the curbing that starts on the right hand side when it stops being grass, what I'm going to do is when I get to that, I'm going to brake briefly up to about 75%, just on the brakes in 3rd gear, trailing it off all the way down to the apex. Now I want to keep off when I'm going into the corner. I don't actually want to be on this curbing on the left hand side. The main reason for that, I found it quite slippy on corner entry when I'm still braking. However, I drop it down to 2nd gear, and once I'm in 2nd, I start building back up on the throttle. I'm happy to go on for the second half of the corner onto the slippy curbing, up to 100% throttle. Car will drift out. You're absolutely fine as long as your left-hand tyres are still on the asphalt here. Make full use of the exit track. Up to 3rd gear. Now, we're going to start our turn in to the apex, still fully on the throttle in 3rd gear. So as you can see, I started turning in towards it. Once I get to the apex, I'm going to do quite a big lift down to about, so almost a full lift down to about 6%. And then I'm building back up. And now I'm going to lift again to make the next apex. So no brakes were used at all during turns 4 and 5. So we do a full lift and then we're back on the throttle as we approach turn 7 here. And once I get to the apex, I'm going to hit the brakes up to about 85%. I'm going to trail that off, drop it down into 2nd gear. And very similar to the previous corner, corner 3, I'm wanting to keep off the inside on entry to the turn. And I'm just going to feather the throttle in 2nd gear and then come back on the throttle and use the curbing on exit. The car's going to drift out wide. Again, as long as you're keeping your right-hand tyres this time on the asphalt, you're absolutely fine. So make sure that you're making the track as wide as they allow it. So up to 3rd gear. We're going to cross over this. We don't want to hit the inside curbing on the right-hand side. doing a slight lift just to get the rear rotated. And again, we're wanting to make it as straight as possible. I've not hit the brake yet, but I'm down to 48% throttle. And now I do a little dab of the brakes, keep it in third gear, and build back up on the throttle up to 100%. Again, not hitting the no-cut curbing on the right-hand side. Car's going to drift out wide. Again, that's absolutely fine. Keep 2 of your tyres on the asphalt. Up to 4th gear on the blue. The next braking marker is... So it's midway between the 100-meter sign on the left-hand side and the SIG Solar Group bridge up ahead of us. So as we get there, just before the bridge, I'm going to brake up to about 70% in a straight line. As always, I'm going to trail it off in third gear. As I get to the apex, I'm virtually fully off the throttle, and now I'm going to give it a big blast of throttle again up to 100%. And now I'm just going to do a full lift just to get the rear rotated. So I'm up at 100% throttle. I do a full lift. Now, there are various different ways. I found this the quickest way for me to do it for my driving style is actually to clip the no-cut curbing here. So again, because of the very flexible suspension that we've got on these Fords, I was able to make this turn by clipping the curbing every single time. Now, if I tried not to, I kept running wide. So experiment for yourself, see what works for you. This suits my style. I know I'm a little bit more aggressive and I quite like the rear kicking out. So if you look at my telemetry sort of thing there, built up to 100%, again, keeping my left-hand tyres on the asphalt. So I just rev it out. I don't change up to 4th. And now my braking marker, if you see on the right-hand side, we've got this these traffic lights here. So once I get to that, I'm going to brake very briefly up to about 30%. And then I'm just feeling with the throttle for the grip back up to 100%. And again, just making the track as wide as possible on exits and entry. The last braking point is just where you see that change of colour of the asphalt here. So just as I get to that, I'm going to brake for the final time on the lap, up to about 75% briefly, trailing it off, dropping down from 3rd to 2nd gear at the apex, building back up on the throttle. Now you don't want to clip the inside curbing here because you will spin. So on exit, I actually had to do a lift, so I was later on full throttle than I wanted to. It just felt like the back was a little bit loose. And again, on exit, you're absolutely fine as long as you're not in the sand and you're keeping 2 wheels on the asphalt. Up to 3rd gear. And over and across the line in a 132.257. So obviously, recording this, make sure you park up nicely. Recording this before the week. None of the times on Garage 61 worthwhile sort of having a look at just yet, because obviously last week the non-fixed version was round here, so that people had open setups and they're obviously going to go considerably faster. Anyway, now let's have a look from the chase cam. So over to the right hand side, dab of brakes, turn in, cut the corner, trail it off, come out wide, get back on the throttle, the slip angle right. So keeping off the curb on the entry, using it on exit. Turning in at full speed, big lift at the apex, back on the throttle, coming back off. Braking hard, down to 2nd gear, finding where the grip is, turning it back up. That's a nice corner when you get it right. The slip angle's just dragging you through all the way. Okay, now we'll do one final run through with the driving line on from the cockpit. Righty-ho, let's have a go. I'll turn the wheel noise up. Little note, if you're still sat there watching, all my laps are on Garage 61 if you want to check my telemetry, and in the description you'll find a Dropbox link to my BLAP round here if you wish to race against my Ghost. I've been Sambo iRacing, thanks for watching, I'll see you guys in the week.